folks, Papa Boris here, reviewing the fourth game of the World Leader Circuit Masters 300 First Edition. We're up against Vedarkunt, a very, very strong player in the 400s. I was very nervous about this game, and he starts off with a deviation of the usual pattern as the second player. And I don't know, by the way, why I keep being the first player. I don't know why I'm the first player every game, but I'm the first player again, and he again gets the first ban. My opponent decides to block the Protector. I'm not sure what this is. I don't think anyone ever first picks a Protector, so I think if you want to ban it, you should ban it second. So I'm not sure exactly what this is, but maybe my opponent really doesn't like long drawy games, and that's what happens sometimes. You can kind of take the Protector and just form a wall that's really hard to break, so maybe my opponent just really hates that kind of thing, wants to play aggressive, so he gets rid of it. On my thing, I decided to block the Bruiser, which is influenced by his choice. You know, with the Protector gone, I don't want to be in a situation where my opponent takes the Bruiser and causes problems. Maybe I should have taken it. Maybe, you know, if my opponent takes the Bruiser, I just take the Jailer. But the thing is, like, if I take, let's say, the Hermit and Cub, and then my opponent goes second, he gets to draft two at once. He could take the Jailer and the Bruiser. And, yeah, the Jailer is a bit of a slow pick, and the Bruiser is strong, but very slow. But my opponent is a good player. He can maybe just let me have all the explosivity that I want with my starting selections, play defense, and when he stabilizes, he just wins because he has an unopposed Bruiser and a Jailer. So I just didn't want any of that, and I deviated from my plan of always getting rid of the Acrobat. Now, in my first draft, I decided to take the Royal Guard because it's worked for me, and I'm not going to stop doing it till it stops working. My opponent moves up. He grabs the Illusionist, of course, everybody does, and the Jailer. So people really like the Jailer. But I do want to point out the positioning here. This game is a really good illustration of how everything can change in a blink of an eye. A totally normal position can turn completely horrible, seemingly in a split second, which, again, I'm not going to spoil who won this game, but this Jailer here, it's a little risky to put it there because if my leader doesn't go in this direction, but instead goes in this other direction, it can take a long time for the Jailer to get over. So you have to be cautious about the distance between your character and your opponent's leader because in this game, distance is a resource. So again, I decided to do what I've done before. I don't put my my Royal Guard in this spot because I don't want the Illusionist swapping with it. If he's going to swap, I want it to be with his own leader so that his leader ends up being on the edge of the board instead of my Royal Guard. I step up because it's pretty safe here, so I don't really mind it, and it's time to do another draft. Here I decided to grab the Hermit and Cub. It's like, hey, everybody keeps banning it. Now I get to take it, so fine. I guess I'll take it. Seems fine. And I do dare my opponent a little bit. I put the Cub here. The Hermit here, because that way he can choose to swap. Of course, it's a little bit suicidal with the Royal Guard being right there, whereas he doesn't have another piece that can quickly get to my leader, so I didn't think he would really take me up on it. But I was like, yeah, you know, if you want to, feel free. And it's banning time. He bans the Claw, quite interestingly. And I decide to ban the Brewmaster, which is, I don't know, a little weird. I am letting my opponent get an Acrobat here, which is maybe kind of silly. But I just didn't want him getting a Brewmaster next to the Illusionist and having like all this power to, you know, go in different lanes and potentially swap in a bunch of different ways. So I just banned the Brewmaster. It's what I was feeling in the moment. So now my opponent steps up to my Royal Guard with his leader. But then, of course, it's just a swap with the Illusionist. He steps in with the Jailer. And he grabs the Acrobat that I left for him. Who knows if he would have taken the Brewmaster? Probably not. So now, what's my game plan? Well, I got off to a little bit of a slower start than usual because I have this Hermit and Cub. So I was like, well, this is crud. Gonna be a long game. I just step up with my pieces, and I step in with the Royal Guard. That may not be necessary to do, stepping into the Jailer like that. But I just wanted to keep a piece near his leader, you know, maybe get my Hermit. I do have the Hermit on the correct side, and, you know, try to just brew up something. Who knows? My opponent, now it's my turn to recruit, and I decided to grab the Vizier. I could have taken the Wanderer, but I figured, you know what, let's play a little bit more cautiously here. Now we have a slippery leader, we have the Cub for extra defense. I just need my Royal Guard and my Hermit, or maybe the last character I draft to put on some offense, and then I'll be fine. I expected my opponent to take the Wanderer here, but after just stepping up with the Acrobat and the leader. Oh, that was actually, I forgot to mention, that was a point. Probably what drove me to put my Royal Guard here is to stop the Acrobat from jumping there. That actually makes a lot of sense, even though it does put my Royal Guard near his Jailer. But he just steps up with the Acrobat, he's ready to jump, and then he grabs the Rider, which I was kind of surprised about. This is something I sort of have done before, where he could have taken the Wanderer, but instead he decides to go for the long-term potential of the Rider, because the Rider can checkmate with his active ability, but the Wanderer cannot. I was a bit surprised by this, but of course that might just be biased because of my recent experience. So now I knew I was going to be taking the Wanderer for sure. I need another aggressive piece, and the Wanderer is perfect for the role. Well, I step up to block his Jailer, step up with the Cub to block the Rider. I am willing for him to swap with my Cub. It's a little bit dangerous, but I figured, you know, the Cub could help suffocate. It can also help reserve places for the pieces to move into. And I'm willing to take the spicy line. I mean, obviously he can jump here with the Acrobat and go here with the Illusionist, but I figured I was fine with it because remember, I do have a Vizier. So my leader is really slippery and pretty good at running around an open space. And I thought if he wanted to go for it, he was welcome to go for it. All right, step up with my Vizier. Move over a bit with my leader. It's a little bit frisky to do this because, again, he can swap with the Cub and also jump over with the Acrobat. But my thinking was that after he does this, I'm still safe. I can still, you know, move over with my leader. And also, don't forget, I do still have another piece to draft, and the piece I draft can be used for defense. Now, we're going to see the Wanderer, and this is going to be one of the weirdest Wanderers, where when I was playing the game, I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. This should have just been an Archer. I would have won this game so easily if it was an Archer. Why did I take this Wanderer? The Wanderer never does any wandering. But I looked back over the game, and I do think this Wanderer is justified when you see my opponent's moves. So what does my opponent do? He takes my Dare. He does step up with the Illusionist and swaps with the Cub. And then he jumps in with the Acrobat. So he's got two pieces very close to my leader. I would not have done this if I didn't have the Vizier, because obviously with the Illusionist here, Acrobat here, and a Rider who can actually ride in after the Illusionist leaves, and I don't have a piece that can ever go here, because my Royal Guard is, you know, jailed at the moment, so there's no way I can get there. Obviously, it's just horrifying and just about on the brink of being checkmated, but it's fine, specifically because I have the Vizier. Now, he also, after stepping up one space with the Rider, moves his leader, and, crucially, he steps back with the Jailer. Now, the Jailer is a very interesting piece of this game because I talked about positioning over here, and notice how far away it is from my leader. It means if I can, you know, force two of these pieces to be on defense, or somehow sideline one of them, then my leader is extremely safe because this piece over here is doing absolutely nothing. And that's partly because he positioned it over here. Now, why move the Jailer from here to here? Well, I think you kind of have to. He needed to move his leader because I was threatening checkmate, right? The Cub is reserving this spot for my Royal Guard to go here, Hermit goes here, checkmate. So the leader needs to move off. But if he doesn't put the Jailer back, then this square is open for my Wanderer, and because I have a Vizier, I do have the ability to, you know, run in open space. I think if I had gone here with the Wanderer, I could have avoided checkmate, but not like for super long, because basically to avoid checkmate, I need to run here with my leader and put the Vizier here to block, but the Illusionist can swap with the Vizier, and then the Acrobat just steps over or something, and then he's got two pieces that are really, really close to my leader, and then my leader can't keep running this way forever because the Jailer is still here, or could have even stepped here by this point. So I think he was actually a little timid putting this Jailer back. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that may be a mistake. But I also think the reason he made this mistake, you know, there's no reason for a piece to be here. It's just to stop my Wanderer from jumping to that spot. So the Wanderer has an influence, even though it may seem kind of like a sad piece. All right, so how do we deal with the situation? Well, I do run with my leader, and I just keep my Wanderer for defense. I decide, just bring everything closer to his leader. I don't even use my Vizier for defense. I just do this. And okay, I guess technically, I didn't actually have to put the Vizier here and let the Illusionist swap with it. Let's say the Wanderer had flown over here. I could just hang out here in open space, but it's a little bit foolhardy to just jump in here with the Wanderer, because of the Jailer, the Wanderer can't jump back, and even if the Illusionist, my opponent just does basic moves like Illusionist here, Acrobat here, Rider here, you know, it's a little bit hard for me to survive. So I just kept the Wanderer here for now, far from the Jailer, and figure, you know, if the opportunity arises, I can fly in later. So how does my opponent choose to press the advantage while avoiding this checkmate coming at him? He decides to do the following. He jumps over my Vizier with the Acrobat to cut off my leader from the left side. He then steps in with the Illusionist and thinks about it and decides to step in that way. So he's got this shape where he's kind of like doing a pincer on my leader. And he also needs to step back with the leader. My pieces here are all slow, but, I mean, they are marching towards leader, so he needs to keep kind of going around to avoid them. And then he thinks for a bit about what to do. He puts the rider in for defense to stop my royal guard from just walking up to his leader, but maybe decides that's too passive. Maybe decides a vizier-powered leader is just too fast to evade an acrobat and an illusionist. This jailer is completely out of position, light years away, has no influence on my leader safety. So he decides to keep the rider where he is. And I don't know if he made a misclick here. My opponent still has the rider to move with, and I thought he was going to put him here. You know, there's a threat here. It prevents my leader from going back here because then obviously there's this checkmate. So I thought he was going to move there, but he just didn't. And I don't know if that's because he felt like he wanted the rider to have the option to step back for defense. Like from here, the rider can't go here. But after I threaten his leader, you know, the rider can still go to this spot right here to block the hermit from attacking the leader, for example, buy himself some extra turns. Maybe he purposefully kept the rider here to stop my wanderer from jumping there. Had the rider been here, my wanderer did have that spot to jump to, although it's a little bit frisky to do that, leaving my leader totally exposed, but maybe that is a consideration that he had. So whether it was a misclick or a decision, I think at this point, my opponent is lost. Pause and think about what you would do in this case. It's not that difficult. All you have to do is just shove everything towards his leader and tuck your leader under the illusionist. The rider being here instead of here allows my cub to go in here, which gives me just an enormous amount of safety for my leader. And notice also that after the other pieces just shoved towards his leader, this acrobat is completely out of position. I do think that was a mistake with the acrobat jumping over my vizier like this, because once the vizier leaves, the acrobat is stranded and is just a vanilla blank piece miles away from my leader. So now there are two pieces over here that are super far from my leader. This piece doesn't have the luxury to advance on my leader because unless it was giving checkmate in this turn, it's needed for defense, since the leader here, who is not sniffing amphetamines provided by his vizier, can't move two spaces. If he could move here, he'd be toasty safe. But as it is, he can't go here because obviously there's a checkmate, and he can't go here because there's a checkmate. So he needs the help of a piece to block this square in order to avoid being checkmated. But the writing is on the wall because, I mean, how is he supposed to win this game? He moves up with the acrobat and the jailer. He steps back with the rider to provide the necessary defense to avoid checkmate, and then the illusionist just stays put. But at this point, I mean, I just need to shove everything towards his leader, and it's lights out. I decide on the principle of it all. By the way, you can win just moving the cub there. For the principle of the situation, I decide to fly in my wanderer. Look at this. And then just shove everything towards the leader. My own leader is happy snuggled up with his illusionist. And now, of course, there's absolutely no way for white to come close to checkmate or to delay any checkmate. So my opponent here just passed his turn. And I was happy to get a win against a really strong opponent. At this point, then, I was 2-2 in the Swiss system. And in the final video, we'll see who I was up against and how the tournament finished for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, sorry, not 2-2. I was 3-1. Yeah, because I actually beat both my two strong opponents. I was 3-1, so I had one game left. And in the final video, we'll see how this tournament ended for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and or subscribe. I'll see you again soon. Take care.